Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out ProbateMastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit ProbateMastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday coaching call. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind coaching call. We do it every Tuesday. If you're first time here, welcome you to come back next Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock Pacific Time. If you have never been on this call, it's an open Zoom call. You're available to pop in, ask questions, share your success stories, different things like that in the probate and the estate niche. If you're here, you guys have already registered, and that means you've been on ProbateMastery.com and signed up for this call. If you're listening through podcast, or maybe you're watching it on YouTube at some point in the future and you haven't, come check this out at ProbateMastery.com. I encourage you guys to please go do that. Up at the top of the page, sign up for free weekly coaching to get invited to these coaching sessions moving forward. So I think the majority of you guys know that this is kind of open communication, open forum coaching call. I've got a lot of people that are doing some really good business here that are spectacular coaches, that are good agents, good peers that have some input. So I just want to let you guys know people like TJ, Reine, Evie, Cam. There's a number of other people here that I know are doing really good business. So if I didn't call your name, it doesn't mean that you're not doing good business. Maybe it just means that I don't see your panel on the Zoom screen right now. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you hear a question or have something that you'd like to chime in with and share your experience, I'd love to open that up. As a matter of fact, Reine and I Reine, was that today?
I don't think we decided on a date yet. So,
Okay.
but
All right.
whenever
So
you want, Bruce.
in the next couple of weeks, Reine
Yeah.
and I are going to be on doing one of these calls, with him being one of the panelist, to share some of his experience. Reine, you can absolutely share some of your experience today. But we're going to start putting coaches and successful agents and investors up on this call a lot more often, so that you can hear from more voices than just mine or Bill's. I don't see Bill here. Bill's kind of taken a little bit of a step back. If you've missed the last couple of weeks, he's going to continue to do this coaching call, typically once a month or so. His schedule got to a place where he needed to change some times up, so I stepped in to kind of take the week in, week out portion of the coaching call. But I do welcome you guys in. I want to start today, while those of you that are working up the nerve to raise your hand, or maybe thinking of questions that you might want to ask, or topics that you might want to discuss, I want to start by talking about your process for offering value to and converting leads in the probate and the estate niche. So often, as someone who has been a peer of yours and has sold probate properties and estate properties before, and someone who's coached and trained in this space for probably 4 or 5 years now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see across the industry, and one of the reasons that I don't mind training my competitors in my local market, is I know that the average family that's going through probate a lot of times has a lot on their plate, and the real estate is not always the first priority. One thing that I want everyone to realize is that I know we're all in the real estate business. I know we all want listings, or we all want purchase opportunities. But what we need to realize is that 65% of families that are inheriting real estate as a part of their inheritance, and as a part of, or going through this probate process, 65% of those properties are free and clear. They do not have a mortgage. That family is often dealing with grief. A lot of times they're dealing with overwhelming paperwork, probate processes. They're filing back taxes. they're collecting debts, they're dealing with other family members that are coming out of the woodwork saying, "Hey, can I move in the house?" All these different things are coming up and getting thrown at people. And when we get a probate record or a probate lead or a probate referral, and we make that call, when the person says, "I don't know," that doesn't mean that there's no real estate transaction to be had. That means that they really don't know. They really need time to process. They need time to do other things. And if you guys are going to really separate yourself in your market and become that dominant agent that I think many of you want to be, or that dominant investor that many of you want to be, kind of known as the estate and the probate person in your area, it means that you're going to learn to play the long game. Now, there are some techniques that we teach in Probate Mastery and we teach as part of coaching that's going to get you guys appointments faster than most. But even if you don't have those techniques, there's plenty of business to be had when you play the long game. I saw David Pinnell just pop in. I saw Michael White's on here as well. These guys are good at learning how to play the long game and recognizing that the first piece of resistance that they get from a family that they call and offer help to is not the final answer. And if we can continue to provide value and continue to stay in touch and continue to market to families, as long as we're top of mind when they enter that window of time where they need to and it's urgent to sell a house, we're going to be the investor, the agent that they go to. How many of you have seen this? I mean, I've called on some names. I want to know how many of you on this call have actually seen. What are some of the stories that you guys might have? Does anyone have a story of a time when maybe someone resisted you or held you at arm's length, and then you ended up getting the business? And if you do, how long did it take to end up getting that business? How long did you have to stay in touch with the person? I'd love to hear.
Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah, Douglas, go for it.
Well, I've kept you informed on this one all the way. I made this connection when I first met you. So this one I started 2 years ago, and now she's ready to make a move,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and it's a powerful move. But it just kept constant nurturing. It's not. I wasn't in it for me. I was there to help her. And I just kept telling her what's happening in the market and kept giving ideas. Now we're like friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then this other woman who had inherited the property for 160 townhomes that I've told you about,
Mm-hmm.
she was resistant for the first year. She didn't answer the phone, and then finally after a year she started answering when I called. Now she sends me pictures of her and her family on holidays, and she's ready to make a move.
Yep.
But that was 2 years ago, and it's going to be the biggest deal I've ever done. So
Yeah.
is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Plus, you really answer their problems.
Mm-hmm. What kind of
So
problems do they have while they're kind of in limbo with deciding on real estate? What sort of
uh,
problems do you guys see?
people will send her contracts for 1 million to 1.5 million, and she doesn't have any idea what the value is.
Mm. Yep. So
And
just
so yeah, so
blind contracts showing up
yeah
in the mail.
that's right. They're just showing up in the mail, or someone will drive by and drop it off on her porch. And what I did was I negotiated with the Department of Planning and Development. I had a Zoom call with 5 members of the Department of Planning and Development on my phone, and I sold them on her. And I said, "Look, she doesn't have any money. She's doing beautiful work, taking care of her. She's gotten custody of her granddaughter because her children have problems with alcohol and drugs, and she's focused on just being a wonderful grandmother and a wonderful influence for this young girl." They called me back 2 weeks later and they said, "Look, we'll do the landfill that's necessary before you can build, and we'll build a 17-acre sidewalk around the entire property on our dollar. We'll pay for it."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's just huge because they want this property developed so bad, but it's not worth 1.5 million. It's worth way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Especially if it's developed, right?
oh God, yes, yeah. Even if it's just taking it to the individual lots in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's still huge. But if she builds out and is a partnership with the builder, it's off the charts, what she would walk away with.
So the idea here that I want to really reinforce is Douglas played the long game, and are there things that you can do to move people's time frame up? Absolutely. There are many of the clients, our future clients, our current prospects that we're working on. They're in our pipeline. A lot of times the house is just not the priority. There are other priorities. So, what are some things that we can do to either shift their priorities or get them to the real estate priority faster? What are you guys doing for that? Does anyone have any services that you're offering that help either reprioritize where the real estate is or move them through their preliminary priorities to get to real estate faster?
I went to the Department of Planning and Development on both of these. But the first one I mentioned, I went to the Department of Planning and Development, got a highest and best use, let her know what the changes have been in the zoning laws in King County, which are huge and make a huge difference in what she can do. And she was totally unaware of that. So it's just being informative.
Hmm. Absolutely. Several weeks ago, probably 2 months ago, I was in a property preview with someone that was not ready to sell, and by the way, is still not ready to sell. I arranged a property preview and went to the house. We were just kind of looking at to get a basic idea of what the house would be worth if it sold on the market versus sold to an investor. And as I was there and on the way out the door, I said, "Hey, how long has the house been vacant? I assume that your insurance agent probably gave you a vacant property rider, correct? What's that?" Okay. Things as simple as this. And Chad taught this when, in his original Probate Mastery course, he taught this and it's still used by dozens of you guys. So the house is vacant. Do you have a vacant property rider? What is that? All of a sudden, you're setting yourself up as the expert with the knowledge that they didn't know that they needed to have. Maybe you say, "Have you ever had any problems with squatters?" No, I haven't had problems with squatters. What would you do if a squatter moved in? I don't know. Why don't I bring a no trespassing sign to the house? Okay, we'll put it up that way. You deal with squatters as trespassers instead of squatters. You can remove them as a trespasser instead of evict them as a someone that's trying to establish tenancy. Would that help? Yes, absolutely. So we help move people through this process. Maybe some of you guys might be working pre-probate. I don't know if anyone on this call is, but maybe you're working pre-probate and you help people, you go to the courthouse and you learn how to apply for probate, what that application looks like, and you offer a service to help them with that or connect them with attorneys, which moves them through probate faster. So often, families that we work with and that we want to do a real estate transaction with, so often they're not getting to the real estate transaction, not because it's not a need, it's just because there's other things that are on their mind. So if we have a system and a process for knocking those preliminary steps out with them or for them, or making introductions to help move them through the uncertainty and the things that are bogging them down in the process, we'll get what we want much, much faster. Okay. Or even if we don't get it faster, we delay our gratification a little bit and we take the time to build that relationship without chasing and constantly, "You gonna sell yet? You gonna sell yet? You gonna sell yet?" What do you think's gonna happen if that's our approach? They're gonna ignore us. So
Exactly.
how do we, and I want to hear from you guys. And by the way, please, questions, even if it's off topic a little bit, these calls all take a life of their own. So please, I want to hear your questions, but I also want to hear what you guys are doing or what you've thought about doing to help move people through the process a little bit faster. Uh, Reine, David, Michael, TJ, Cam, are you guys doing anything? And anybody else that is doing something, pop your hand up if you are going to chime in. Reine, you're off mute, so you can start, and then Cam, I'll come to you next.
Thanks, Bruce. I was just going to mention one of the things that I picked up from you and Chad is just listening and asking questions. And then, and when I say listening, sometimes the family is telling you what they need, and I might be locked into my realtor zone and not listening to them. I was on one listing where the listing appointment where the guy had to say to me 3 times, I just need someone to do everything for me. Right. And I kept trying to figure out how to get the listing, and 3 times. And then after the third time, I'm like, oh, would it help if I did this? I'll have to charge you a little bit more for my concierge. And he's like, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm like, wow, I almost lost that one
Yeah.
because I wasn't hearing what he was saying. And I was lucky that he said it 3 times. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How often are people unlucky because they don't pick up those little obvious clues? They're going, I got to list the house. I'm going to keep talking about that. And all the while the person is making it plain as day how you can establish that relationship. That's good. I'm glad you heard it on the third time. I probably miss a lot of clues like that myself. So we need to learn how to listen. That's good. Let me go to Cam and then I'll come to TJ.
So to reiterate the same thing, it's like, so first and foremost, the person who's asking the questions are in control of the conversation. So I'm always trying to find myself asking more questions as opposed to statements.
Mhm.
So exactly what he said, like I'm listening, I'm trying to pick up anything or, any type of, I don't want to say discrepancies or any just like type of problem they have. And I'm just digging from there. Like they say, hey, okay, the problem I have with the Attleboro property right now, he has to go back and forth from New York. So I'm like, well, instead of going back and forth to New York, I'm only 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away. Maybe I can just be that, instead of you going back and forth, I can go and check the house and possibly whatever it needs. He's like, you know what? That's a good idea. Instead of him having to come from New York just to like clean out the house. I'm like, hey, let me take care of it. And just like that simple, like, hey, like let me take that part of it over. He was just like, okay, he just kind of like, was like, okay, I can deal with this kid. And then I mean, we did just get denied for informal probate, so we have to go through formal, but he knows that I'm his guy. So now
Yeah.
he's calling me and he's like, oh, with V2, he's like, oh, well, she said I got to do this, I got to do that. And so now I have like kind of him, like, like I'm hugging him at this point. Like my arms are
Mhm.
around him. He knows he's all right. So yeah, now I can just kind of guide him through the process. And once we get approved and everything, he gets the right to sell. It'll be mine because I've been there offering him help, whatever he needs. So
Outstanding. Let me bring this up. One of the things that you said is would it help if I um went to the property and took care of the property? One of the things, and this is a technique that I would probably encourage a lot of you to use, is instead of instantly trying to sell them on you being the person, I might suggest that there are people that will do that and find out if they've looked into any of those services. Because a lot of times they don't know what they don't know. They haven't been through these things. They don't know that there are people that will help them and guide them through probate, that'll be their advocate locally, that'll take care of the property. They don't know these things. So what I might have said in the future, don't worry about it now, Cam, you got the relationship. Good. I might have said, "Hey, have you looked into any local services for people that'll actually watch and take care of the house process for you?" No, I haven't. Did you know that those services existed? No, I didn't. Would you want to see what it looks like if I did that for you? Yes. So a lot of times I like to baby step someone into saying that yes, they would like that service, and then all of a sudden I spring, I can do it. I can do it. Now, what you did is great. It's miles ahead of what your competition's going to do. It's miles ahead of what another investor or another agent's going to do. I think that it's going to work for you, but sometimes we need to baby step someone into the realization that there's a solution that they didn't know existed. And then once they realize that there's a solution there, we go, by the way, I can do that. So we kind of baby step them into the process of recognizing that we should be that person for them. All right. Good stuff, Cam. Awesome. Let me go to TJ. TJ, what is happening? And I'm gonna try to,
Hey there.
there you go.
Yeah, so I just to piggyback on that, when I first started talking to people about probate and they would mention an issue that they have, my first reaction was say like, I can take care of that for you. Like I can do that for you. I was using a lot of I statements.
Mhm.
And I realized that like because I've always been trained to listen, like I come with my team, we call them listening appointments rather than listing appointments, just to kind of get that in your head. So I shifted that phrase from I can help you with that to would it be helpful if,
Mhm.
and sometimes it says, would it be helpful if I took care of that, or would it be helpful if someone took care of that for you?
Yeah.
And it's just a softer way to do it. You'd even take it a step further with the baby stepping them into it. I'm going to try that for sure.
Yep.
But it's just a different tone and a different reaction that you get from people for sure.
I love the listening appointment. I want
Listening
everybody to
appointment.
use that.
Yeah.
I'm going on a listening appointment. Yes.
Yeah. It's a mindset thing because
Language.
I mean, as a new agent years ago, I would go in and be like, look how awesome I am, or look how awesome my brokerage is. We sold how many houses, and then the person's sitting there like, yeah, that's great. But like, so now one of the biggest questions I ask also is, and this is on any appointment, is I ask them what their biggest fear is
Mhm.
about the process. And that opens up like it gives them permission to be a little bit vulnerable, and then you can really pick up on their pain points and then kind of go in, would it be helpful if someone took care of that stuff for you? So it's
What
really,
sort of answers do you get to that question?
the biggest fear.
Hmm.
Um, well, with probate, it's like they're just afraid they're going to drop the ball on something. I haven't met one personal representative that knew exactly what they were getting into when they agreed to be the the executor
Right.
or they agree to step up and be an administrator. And once they realize once they hear like inventory belongings and opening a bank account and getting an entity and opening a bank account, they're like, I didn't sign up for this. So I think that's really when they start to realize that stuff scares them, that they're going to make a mistake.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times it's just doing the right thing, getting them as much money as they can for the family, or doing the right thing to honor their loved one is really what it boils down to. That's probably
Yeah.
the most, like they come out, the answer comes out in various different answers, but essentially they're all saying that
Yeah.
the same thing. They're afraid of like making a mistake.
Yeah. So it kind of boils down to making a mistake or getting taken advantage of, which
Yeah.
I guess is also another way of saying making a mistake. But
Mhm.
one is their fault, and the other one is displaced blame on someone else.
Mhm.
So being able to hear those things before and speaking to it. Along those same lines, those of you that are agents that might go on listing appointments, one of the questions that I like to ask, and this isn't probate specific, this is just good appointment strategy, is what are the few things that are most important to you and the agent that you work with? Investors, you can rework that question a little bit for you and get the person to tell you what their one, two, or three top priorities are. And then you can spend your entire appointment from that point forward talking about those priorities and ignoring all the things that you wanted to talk about beforehand. So what TJ is describing is just a way to kind of shift the conversation over into what they want to talk about, and you can ignore everything else that you had planned on presenting. There's no point in presenting those things unless you just sort of touch on them as a quick little side point and move on. And you can camp on the things that are important to them. It's good. It's good. Anything else to add, TJ?
I mean, originally I was going to I'm going through a probate now. We're hitting the 8 month mark, and it's not really probate. It's a administrator. Like we're just going to get the letters of administration soon, but we have to serve one of the heirs because he's refusing to sign the release to let her be the administrator. And a couple the family members don't really talk to each other. There's like different mothers involved. There's the dad that passed, and they have different. Each of the siblings have a different mother. So it's been a little bit difficult to get everybody together and on the same page. So I offered to call there was two people that were kind of holding out, and their excuse was they were confused about the document that they were signing.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered to call, and I said that Leanne is my attorney. Like Leanne will call. But I also, it was a good way to distinguish the difference between what I can do and what an attorney can do. Because an attorney is not going to chase around your relatives to get them to sign something. It's like, that's on you. So I can call and nicely, try to explain and answer any questions. And then I kind of walked her through like what I would say. So I would just call and say, hey, I know you have some questions about the document you need to sign. Is there anything that I can help you with answering? Turns out the guy he was just kind of making excuses. He didn't want to pay for a notary, even though it's only like $20. He's like, if somebody sends me the money to pay for a notary, then I'll sign it. So we found an attorney. He's out of state. We found him an attorney that's 15 minutes from his house that will go in and do a notary for free for him. So he's not doing that either. But I think the main point that I'm trying to say is like, no matter what anybody has an issue with, most of the time you can say yes. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, oh yeah, I can help you with that. Or you can at least say, you know what, I think I have a couple ideas of how to figure this out. Let me go check with some associates, or let me check with, let me ask my attorney, and I'm going to get right back to you. And then of course, get right back to them. Just do what you say you're going to do. But just by you, even if you come back with, you know what, we're in kind of a pickle here and there's really nothing that I can do, but here's what you can do. Or, whatever, just come back with some kind of answer.
Yeah.
And they appreciate the work that you put in to try to help them. And that goes a long way. Most of the stuff you'll be able to help them with though.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a solution to every problem, and someone is going to find that solution. And if it's not them, the first person to help them find the solution, even if you don't know what it is right now, the first person to help them find a solution or be the solution, if that person is in real estate, is probably going to get the real estate business later. Okay, so be that first person. And if you run into a situation and you've never dealt with it before, we've got a great coaching call here every Tuesday that we're on right now. We've got a great Probate Mastery alumni community if you've taken Probate Mastery, or Estate Professionals Mastermind Facebook community if you haven't. Or just do some good old-fashioned Google research. GTS, guys, GTS. And that'll will give you answers. Don't be intimidated by answers that you don't have. Don't be intimidated. The harder the answer, the more likely it is that I'm going to get the business in the long run, because everybody else is going to go, gosh, I don't know, I can't help you with that. And I'm going to say, I'm going to go find that solution for you. And if the solution is I have to turn it back to the family member with 3 steps that they need to do, that's the solution. Maybe it's not me that has to do it. Maybe I just have to tell them what to do. And they're going to be eternally, I don't want to say indebted to you. I don't want to say that, but they're going to have that connection that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Cool. Courtney, your camera just went off. I don't know if you are ready to come in for a question. Go ahead and
I am.
come on in.
Hey, so I had a quick question. So, based off what Cam and was it Tim was saying, so I think the way I'm approaching it is, I wouldn't say wrong, but my approach when I reach out to the homeowner is I go straight for the real estate. So I guess I'm trying to figure out how they positioning themselves. TJ, I'm sorry, I apologize, TJ. How are they positioning themselves in the beginning to be that expert to help them throughout the process, and not just going straight for the real estate, if that makes sense? Because you guys are helping them from the beginning to end. And mine is just kind of just nurturing them until they're ready for the real estate. But I want to be involved at the beginning to the end.
Okay.
Can I take that one?
Yeah, take it.
So first and foremost, how would you feel if somebody came to you in your childhood homes like, hey, can I offer you 50 cents on the dollar? And then that was like the first thing they came with. You would kind of be like taken back a little, right? As a,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like I know you're going through a tough time, but like what could I help with? Like how could I be the provider? Yes, I am a real estate investor. That is my bread and butter, but I'm also here to help. And I feel like just even that, I mean, obviously I sprinkle it a little different, but even that saying that or come that direct, they just feel like, okay, well, I know they're not a liar. You know, like yes, they're a real estate investor, but they also want to help me. So it's just more of like, do you have an attorney you work with?
I don't know.
So that's job one. Just to be able to say like, hey, I work with a great attorney. If you need any type of legal advice or help, I can refer you to them. I got a her. So I always say like, I'll refer you to her. Just she offers a free hour consultation. You just mention my name. But I just want to see like where you're at with this whole process. And yeah, just it
Yeah.
gets easier the more you dig.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gotcha. And you do that in the initial call because I've been doing probate I've been doing it about 3 years now. But like I said, I go straight for the property. But now I have family members that are dealing with the passing of a loved one,
Mhm.
and they have no idea on what to do. And I'm like, they have no idea. They are clueless about how to handle everything. And they're getting
Right
letters
then
from
and there,
like,
you got a great situation. I mean, it sounds so terrible, but you got a great situation right there. Talk to 5 attorneys this week or today, actually. Call 5 attorneys and be like, hey, I got this problem right now. You're already bringing both people value. So
Mm-hmm.
right there, find an attorney and be like, hey, I got a family problem. Yes, I'm a real estate investor, but I want to help these people. Could I sit down and talk to you and make sure, first of all, that the type that's going to at least reciprocate because you don't want to be bringing people referrals and they're just like, yeah, Courtney, she's just bringing me referrals. Like my lady, I talked to her at 9 this morning, like that's how close we are. Like, um, find somebody that you really gonna, deal with and then just be able to refer them because that's
Yeah.
it
I'm
should.
gonna I'm gonna chime in and Cam, you used the word reciprocate. I want to caution you against the word reciprocate because of quid pro quo rules and laws that attorneys have to follow. But yes, every opportunity that you have as an excuse to contact an attorney, you should do it. So you've got that on your family side of things. So
Mhm.
every excuse I have, if I hear that there's a dispute, even if I'm not working with that person, if I hear that there's a dispute, I'm going to call a new attorney and say, hey, I've got a dispute with some potential clients I might be working with. Was wondering if you handle disputes. There's an excuse to make that call. The attorney is going to be much more likely to have an interaction with you. Now, I agree with Cam. You do want to work with attorneys that are going to send referrals back to you. I'm just not always going to bring that up on the first interaction. I'll get to the second or third interaction before I start asking for that. That's just my style. Cam's a little more direct. Cam, I actually really agree with your style of trying to get the attorney to agree to work and be your person. I've no problem going at it your way, but I'm going to treat the attorney the same way. What can I do to help you? And then I know in the back of my mind that I'm going to win their business over time. Now, pulling it back, Luz, I see your hand. Is it related to this or a separate question? It's related to this. Okay, I'm gonna have you unmute yourself. Let's add you to the panel.
Yes.
So real quick before you start, I just think there's a group that I'm going to tag that everybody in this group needs to join. It's not should join. You need to join this. It's all estate planning professionals. I mean, it's all probate attorneys and estate planning attorneys from all over the nation, and they're always on this site. So what I did was I invited a few people. Just hey, I'm in this area looking for an attorney. There's like 50 of them.
Mhm.
So that
What site?
it's on Facebook. I'll send you the Facebook link.
Great.
I'll send it in the group, but you can. I didn't
Okay,
mean to interrupt. I just wanted to shoot.
you're good. All right, go ahead. And I've mispronounced your name probably a dozen times over the months and years.
Oh,
Luz?
Oh, I'm new.
New. Okay.
Just bought your course.
Your
And
name looks familiar.
oh, really? Well, it's a very common name. But my name is Luz Rodriguez. I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And I'm a realtor here, and I'm just introducing myself. And I came across your school in Google.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to start finding properties like that for my broker, because we have an investment partnership. And also I like the fact that I like to help people. So just to make it short, and everyone can call me Lucy.
Okay. Hi, Lucy. Yeah.
Yes. So talking about what Ken was talking, and the young lady, what's her name?
Courtney.
Courtney.
Yes. What isn't it a good idea just to say to people, like saying, hey, I have a service, I give a service and I will coach you through the process. But before that, just make a team first, like find the lawyers and, just maybe a bank, like just have like a team. And then you can tell the prospect, I have a service that I offer. Maybe you can charge, maybe you don't have to charge, but it's work. And it takes such a long time, and you have to know your market value also. But it can be like a coaching like a coaching that you can walk the person through. I mean, that's just an idea.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea. I know a few people that do that. Chuck Sirk in Pennsylvania, he provides a full consultative, I'll take care of the estate settlement process for you. By the way, if real estate is a part of that, I also own this real estate company and can help with that. I want everyone to know that all these ways are a way of approaching the probate and the estate business. They're a way. They're not the way for everyone. So some of you guys are gonna have heard Courtney talk about how she just goes straight for the jugular and says real estate. That's fine. That's completely fine. I have no problem with that. I will tell you though, what I've found is, especially early on in the probate process, early on, they don't know what they're going to do with the house yet. Why? They haven't talked to the rest of the family. That's normally the case. So if you decided what you're going to do with the house yet, I would bet that you get a whole lot of, we don't know, it's too early, or we're keeping the property. And when I lead by asking about the real estate, I find that I'm giving a lot of future sellers the excuse and a way to lie to me, even if it's unintentionally, lie to me and put me off. And then that's business that I'm never going to get that I'm probably not going to get a good shot at in the future because they shut me down. So I give people a chance to resist me without killing the conversation. So if I were to go straight after the real estate, I would say, have you guys decided if you're going to sell the property, or is it too early to decide yet? So let's pretend that we're not making big adjustments to your approach. Now they're choosing between selling or too early. And if they bring up and they say, we're keeping the house, then you can trust that it's probably true, because that was not one of the options that you put on the table. On the flip side, if they decide to hold you at arm's length, they're holding you at arm's length with the answer, we don't know yet, it's too early. And I can live with that all day long because I know it probably is too early. I'm catching them. They've got 1,000 other things on their plate. Now I know that they're involved. I know they answer the phone. And I know that there's a house involved. And 9 times out of 10, if it's too early, guess what's going to happen? They're going to sell in 6 months or maybe 8 months. They're going to sell. So my encouragement, and I want to hear what TJ does and anyone else, but my encouragement would probably be to lead with, I have a comprehensive probate service that helps you move through probate. And then I would expect and make it easy for them to say, I don't need that service right now. Personally, my personal style, and everyone's different. I was talking to someone in a different state a few days ago, and she wants people to take that service. I don't. I'm fine if they do. I have relationships, I have referrals, I'll manage the process for them, but I would rather them say, no, I don't need help right now. Because now I can shift the conversation to real estate without it looking to them like that's the only thing I was calling about. So if they say I don't need that service, I say, okay, it sounds like you have everything handled. Do you mind if I ask, once you're further into probate, do you have any thoughts on what you're going to do with the real estate? So I can shift to real estate early in the call without it appearing that that's the only thing I called for. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can do it. And I think it's fine if you go straight for the real estate. I think it's okay, but I do think it limits some of the relationships that you could build over time. TJ, anything from you? Anybody else have an approach to add in?
I do not go straight for the real estate. But I think it was Cam that said I don't hide the fact that I'm a real estate agent either.
Mhm.
So and really this may be good or bad. It's a very open-ended question, and I might change it, but it seems to be working just with my delivery, I guess. But I always ask I'm just calling to see if there's anything that I can help you with. It's kind of an open question. And then it kind of opens up. They usually say, well, I don't think there's anything right now. And most people want to give you an excuse why there's nothing that you can help them with. And that opens up the door for me to kind of go on whatever they said, kind of dig in deeper onto that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, no, we haven't talked I haven't really, as a family, we haven't really gotten together and decided yet, what we're going to do. And then I might say, oh, is one of the family members living in the house currently? And that tells me if it's vacant or if it's not. And then we just kind of go down it's like pointed questions that we kind of go down a rabbit hole. And then I'll use the line, well, would it be helpful if I brought a no trespassing sign over? Or would it be helpful if I connected you with my locksmith, or, something like that? Whatever if you get people comfortable enough to at least start talking a little bit with you, and most people are cordial and will, you can always pick up on at least a small pain point. Like they'll say, oh, I can't get a hold of, like, we know we have this cousin out there, like, we can't get a hold of him. Oh, great. Well, what's the name? Maybe I can try to help track him down. Do you have any information on him? I can try. And then if you can track down an heir that they can't get a hold of, they love that. That takes a big headache off their plate.
Yeah.
And at what point are you sending out any? Oh, sorry. At what point are you sending out information to them, whether it's by email or by mail? At what point are you doing that?
TJ, what do you do?
Yeah, I send out letters. Like, as soon as I get my leads in, I'm sending out letters, and I don't discriminate. It's before I dig in to see if they have a property to sell or not. I just like to get a letter out in the mail. That's just kind of like hey, these are the services I offer, and it's like selling the house is on the list of all the stuff that I offer.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
Now, my approach is to shift over as quickly as I get resistance, as quickly as they turn down something that I offer. I completely validate them. That validation is my path to getting permission to mail them, to email them. So they say, no, we got everything handled. And I go, that's amazing. It sounds like you probably weren't looking for extra help today. I tell you what. Okay, and this is my line. It works for me. I don't ask for permission to send them. I say, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send you some information on what I do, and you can call me if you ever need anything. Now, I want everyone to shake your head as to whether you think I'm going to wait for them to call me. Am I going to wait for them to call me? No. Okay. But they need to feel the power. They need to feel like they're in control. So I'm going to send you some information on my services. You can call me if you ever need anything. Is that fair? Yes. Perfect. What's your email address? So you've got to deliver this confidently. If you do it confidently in that way, you'll get email addresses 8 out of 10 times. Okay. And then I'm going to start doing warm, slightly more personalized marketing to them as a pipeline lead.
Okay.
Okay. Now, TJ does cold mail. I do cold mail as well. When I do cold mail, I kick it off after about a week or two of trying to call. Again, guys, remember, these are our ways of doing it. They are not the way of doing it. So for me, a week or two of cold calls, they haven't engaged with me. They haven't answered the phone. Anyone who has not answered the phone goes into my cold mail campaign. Anyone that has answered the phone, I do personalized emails and mail touches to them. Very personalized. It's not a campaign. It's like I've got them on my board and I'm just kind of saying, hey, I'm going to try to find 4 or 5 excuses to call them over the next several months, or excuses to send them a mail piece. Cam, you had something to add.
So yeah, I mean, I just started to send mail more consistently, I should say. So as soon as I get, same thing, as soon as I get my list now, I'm sending mailers. I usually wait till like a couple days, and then even if they don't get it, the first thing I'm like, "Hey, how you doing, Bruce? My name's Cameron Adesanya. Didn't know if you got my mail." And then so they're thinking of questions and not, you know.
Yep.
Right. Can I say something?
Yeah, who is that? I can't see.
It's Mina.
Yep. Let me find you real quick so that I can put a pin on you for the
Oh,
video.
that's right. You got 59.
Go ahead. I
I
can't.
thought I was in the
Bill,
I was the
I see
highlight. I'm
Bill
just
here.
kidding. No,
Bill, if
so
you
there
have
are
anything to chime in on, go ahead and
yeah,
chime
there
in.
are
Go
people
ahead.
that have look for missing assets that you can connect with. And sometimes you can chime in with people. Hey, did you ever see if people have I'm sorry about your loved one that passed away. Sometimes people open up accounts or different things. And, it's a good idea sometimes to do a search for missing assets that you wouldn't know about.
Mhm.
And that usually would get them interested, right? More money, more things. Right. And
Yeah.
and also, like, for instance, I own a tax firm for 15 years. So, I'm starting to call attorneys and say, I'll include an estate return, which has to be done when they sell a house in my package if I sell the real estate.
Yep.
Now you can align yourself with accountants in your area. We do it in all 50 states, but if you want to make relationships, and offer that, because people open accounts up, right? Older people do things they don't tell people. And so they run transcripts. You want to make sure there's no missing money, so that's a great way to get people to talk to you at least, right? They
Yeah.
may have their own person, but at least that's a pain point for them.
And it's a pain point that they might not know is a pain point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How would they
So
think they see a bank account, they think that's it.
that's right. And we run transcripts, right? So a transcript is I can get up to 10 years history on this person, any person from the IRS. It'll say, oh, wow, there's dividends from this account. Let's say there is a trust. We didn't know about it. Well, Aunt Sally opened it up 2 years ago and didn't tell anyone, but now because there are dividends coming in, right? So, they'll be like, oh, that's a great idea to run transcripts. So now you're having a relationship with these people, right? Because everybody's looking for money when someone dies. It
Yep.
really is the bottom line,
At least they would be if they knew to be looking for money.
Right. They'll be like, oh, wow, we don't know what Aunt Sally did, because people do things. They don't tell everybody everything, whether there's a trust or a probate. And all of a sudden you have these 2 missing accounts that are worth 50, 100,000 they wouldn't have known about. IRS not going to call you, say, hey, by the way, Aunt Sally also had, it's getting dividends. They don't do that. But
Yep.
you're very important to these people now.
Absolutely. Big time. I had a question that just came in a minute ago, and it was for TJ. I don't know if you have a common list of vendors or services that you like to bring up or offer? And Mina, same question would go for you. TJ.
I do, but I don't send out, some people, I know some real estate agents that will send out a list of like, here's my plumbers, here's my electricians, here's their contact information and phone number. I like to say, I have an electrician, I have a plumber, I have an attorney, I have an accountant, because I want to be the one that connects them. I want to stay in the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I won't just give the contact information out without, like, just freely. I know agents that one of their strategies is to, I see it once in a while, they'll post on Facebook like, hey, if you need here's the spring's coming up, your spring cleaning, here's some lists of services and their contact information. They could just call the number and not ever have a conversation with you as an agent. So that's kind of how I present it. So I don't know if that answers the question exactly.
Or you could present the service and potentially name of the company on a flyer and say, if you need to talk to them, here's the phone number to call and route it to you. Now they could also go Google that person, but there's ways of making sure you're included in that conversation, which absolutely is crucial, that the call route through you guys.
And I do that in my letters, as far as like, because one of the biggest things that people need is an attorney. So I always say, if you need an attorney, and I'll give them my website with my contact page to do for an attorney. So I don't necessarily have a list of services, but is that what the question was? Can you give us the list? It's like attorney, accountant for sure, trash out people or junk removal, estate sale companies. Those are the biggest, the top ones I think that I use, but locksmith, insurance company, I mean, pest control, pretty much all the usual stuff that you would need as a real estate agent for regular listings. And then, but you're just referring to like attorneys and accountants a little more often.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or anything? You can raise your hand if you have anything to input and give us something that you've done to help further a relationship or bring up a service. Personally, stylistically, guys, I like to ask questions that I know are going to lead to a service. So an example, let's take Mina as sort of the example, offering an accounting or a final, what do you call it, Mina? What?
So if there's a house, and every state has its maximum of where you need to file a probate. So there's estate returns where, especially when you sell a house, so the beneficiaries will get a K1 because a trust account has an EIN number, has a life of its own. And then when the beneficiaries, the people involved, get money, they give it to their CPA. So it doesn't look like ordinary income, like income earned. There's a step up in basis. So this is really important. And some attorneys, sadly, don't even know that. And these people have claimed the 100,000 they got as ordinary income, and they got taxed on it.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, what was the question again?
So mainly the
final returns. So Sally passed away. Sally had money coming in from whatever. She was making money. So she died in, let's say, 2023. The executor is responsible for doing those returns, because the IRS still knows there was income made. Just because she died doesn't mean she's eliminated from filing a return. So there has to be a final return filed for Sally, just a regular return as if she was doing it in 2023. Everyone needs a final return. If there's no income, that person, they do not. There's a threshold, they think of 13,000 maximum. Anything under that does not require a tax return, but you may want to do it anyway, so they know that Sally is no longer alive, and you dot your I's and cross your T's. So you can include that in your package of real estate, right? You can tell the attorneys, hey, I have different packages.
Yeah.
And because these people are bitching all the time of how much they spent on this probate. that every time they turn around, they have to pay more people. That I'm sometimes on the phone for an hour with these people, ranking on the attorney and the system. And now they have to pay me for the tax return. That's about $2,000 for if it's a large estate for, because you have to do a lot of paperwork. You got to get all the beneficiaries, socials, and you got to send them something. It's not just a tax return for the estate. It's already now everybody's involved. So it's about $2,000, give or take a little bit. But guess what? You may be able to include that in your real estate services. So you make more than that if you give up, 2,000 or 1,500. And you made 20 or 15, it's a good deal, works. And the attorneys look really great because they are helping their clients. And then let's talk about them. That was so great. Attorney John is an amazing attorney. He connected me with a firm. They do real estate and taxes. I didn't have to pay extra money for the estate return. And I was so happy because we already spent $50,000.
Absolutely.
So now John, the attorney, looks really good.
I've done the same thing in my business with accountants, appraisals. So
yes, very
appraisals
important.
are a big one, and which don't always have to be an appraisal. It could be a good broker price opinion if you're an agent or have agents that can do something and they're professional. You don't want somebody that's never put comps together running a broker price opinion for you.
Yes.
You could cover an attorney's initial consultation fee on behalf of a client. Another one is estateexec.com. You could cover the software that they need through Estate Exec. I'm going to do a whole session on that in the next week or two, to cover software that people need to navigate probate. You guys have the ability to pay $100 for that on behalf of a client and give them the tools that they need to go through probate, go through settling an estate. So many different things that you could cover for folks. We are getting a little bit short on time here, and Courtney had her hand back up. Courtney, if you would come back up and let us know what your add-on question was.
Yes, so I just had a quick question. I just want to see if anyone has anyone established relationships with nursing homes or assisted living and has success from that?
I know the answer is a lot of people have. If anyone here has, raise your hand so that I can call you up. I do know a lot of people have made that a major part of their business. I just don't know if any of them are here right now.
Okay.
Anybody?
I've had a lot personally because I haven't focused on it, but I do know from associates of mine, what it works extremely well is if you find out who they call them different assisted living facilities, but the person who does the rentals, basically books people to come in.
Yep.
If you go to them, make an appointment with them, and how we frame it is, would it be helpful if I put together a packet that you could share with people that are coming in about selling the home or what to do with this stuff in the home, and a list of resources? They all say yes. I've done it a couple times here and there. I just haven't been good about following up with that side of things yet. And another thing is what I've seen, I haven't done it myself, but I've seen this. It's kind of hearsay, so it is what it is. But if you volunteer, they're always looking for volunteers. So volunteer call bingo numbers, get it in like that. And then you have a relationship with the staff at the facilities. And then you bring, hey, would it be helpful if I put together some information that you could share with families that are looking to move a loved one in?
Yep.
And that's been, I've seen what agents that I've seen do that, they focus on that as their like number one niche. And it's in my plans of to do, it's just not a priority right now because I got so much other stuff going on, but it fits in line with probate so well. It's just it's like life transitions is just it does fit in very well. So I hope that was helpful.
Perfect fit.
Yes. Thank you.
I have two. The trick is that you have to get you're too late if they're moving in because they've already got the house sold. They've already got all their stuff sold. So you want to get in with the event planner who books the appointments for them to go in and take a look. at the apartment complex. Like TJ said, we've got real estate brokers who bang on the doors after they've already moved in, wanting to know if they want to sell their house, and it's way past too late for that.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. By the way, I know a couple of people that get 2 or 3 transactions a month from their assisted living and nursing home administrator partners. So there's a lot of business to be had there. There's probably people that are doing more than that, and they're just staying quiet in the background. They're not coming in here to share their secrets, but you've got a lot of people that focus on that. Bottom line, guys, is and this is one caution I'm going to give everyone. Don't rush out and try to do everything that you can possibly do all at once. Tackle these different areas systematically. Maybe it's starting to offer some sort of a final accounting or a tax service with a partner of yours. Maybe you go get your tax partner and you start offering that, and you do that for a few months. And then you put your systems together, you figure out how you're going to do it. Then you go add a nursing home. Then you go add an assisted living company. Then you go add another attorney, little by little. I don't want anyone here going, hey, I need to go meet 10 attorneys, 10 people at assisted living, 10 accountants. I don't want you doing that. I want you kind of chunking it down into baby steps. There's more than enough time to build the business that you want. As long as you're able to systematically focus on specific high value relationships and activities, systemize it, then move on and add something else to your system. So this has been great interaction, guys. Thank you all so much. I do want to let you know, I got the question a minute ago and we're about to jump off. Marina, what's the best introduction? How do you not sound like a telemarketer? I'm going to tell you where to go find that. If you guys go over to probatemastery.com, up on the top menu of probatemastery.com, there is a menu item. Let me just go there and make sure that I can tell you correctly. There's a menu item up at the top of the page that says free coaching and training. Free coaching and training. The first item on that is weekly coaching. That's what we're on right now. The second item on that is mini training. So register for mini trainings. You're going to get 3 short videos added to your course library. One of those videos is prospecting. It takes about 15 minutes, and I go over how to open your call without sounding like a telemarketer. So it takes about 15 minutes for you guys to watch. If you register for that mini training, you get all 3 short trainings. They're short, they're not big, long, substantial classes, but they're the basics. If you want to know the basics of how to start building your probate business and what is the probate opportunity for your real estate business, you'll get a video on that. If you want to know the basics of marketing, you'll get a video on that. If you want to know how to not sound like an ass when you make phone calls, you'll get a video for that in the prospecting session. And they're all between 12 and 18 minutes long. So register for that. If anyone is not certified, we have a certification course on probatemastery.com. Plenty of information there for those that want coaching. In addition to their certification course, we have both group coaching and private coaching available now. You'll have to scroll down on the Probate Mastery page and book a discovery call if you want information on that. But I appreciate everybody being here. Cam, let me go to you. You've got 30 seconds, then we got to go.
So real quick, I dropped the link for everybody. It's estate planning professionals. I recommend everybody join the group and just, look for any attorney in your area and shoot your shot. You miss 100% of the chances you don't take. And just let them know you can provide value, et cetera, et cetera. And if anybody's from Massachusetts, I'm here. I'm top probate specialist. No, I'm just playing. But I'm here if you want to communicate and, learn. And if there's anybody want to do some role play, let me know.
Yeah, and you guys should all be on the Estate Professionals Mastermind Facebook group to communicate with each other. If you have taken Probate Mastery, you should be on the Probate Mastery alumni Facebook group for leads, referrals, role play, masterminding together. So I encourage you guys to use those Facebook groups. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next week.